Welcome to this explainer, where we are going to completely demystify the Microsoft AI 500 beta exam and hand you a tactical playbook to actually pass it. If you're aiming to earn that Microsoft Certified Multi-Agent AI Solutions Expert credential, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to break down the most critical, high-yield concepts so you know exactly what's coming when you sit down for the test.
But first, let's start with a massive jolt of reality straight from the testing trenches. One frontline test taker who just survived the 63-question beta exam dropped this quote on Reddit, noting that Microsoft Foundry was absolutely everywhere. It is literally the backbone of the exam. You can't just memorize theory here. If you are not hands-on with Azure AI Foundry for orchestrating agent logic, you are absolutely going to struggle. This certification is all about proving you can build and operationalize these complex systems in the real world.
So here is our agenda for this explainer. We'll cover inside the AI 500 exam, the 4 core domains, orchestrating multi-agent architecture, traps in practice questions, and finally, your exam study plan. All right, Section 1, inside the AI 500 exam. Let's get some real intelligence straight from the testing trenches. 3, that's the magic number of real-world case studies you're going to face on this exam, right alongside your standard multiple-choice questions. And these aren't easy. Each scenario throws a complex business context at you, loaded with technical constraints, followed by 5 to 8 questions. The real test here? It's your ability to balance cost, latency, compliance, and safety all at the exact same time. You aren't just picking a cloud service in a vacuum. And here are the heavy hitters you'll need to know. Like I said, this isn't just theory, it's deep, hands-on technical application. Expect to be tested intensely on chunking strategies for retrieval-augmented generation, how to embed safety guardrails without totally tanking your performance, how triage agents route tasks, and exactly how open-source frameworks like LangGraph and the Model Context Protocol seamlessly integrate into the Azure ecosystem. Moving right along to Section 2, the 4 core domains. Let's map out the official Microsoft syllabus. Look at how this scoring breaks down. Developing solutions takes the lion's share at 35%, meaning you really must know how to code and build within Azure. Then, evaluate and optimize, along with secure and govern, are weighted equally at 25% each. High-level architecture rounds out the final 15%. They are testing you as an expert-level practitioner, someone who manages the whole lifecycle from the initial design all the way to production. Okay, Section 3. Orchestrating multi-agent architecture. We're going to deconstruct some complex technical hurdles here. This is absolutely crucial for the development domain. You've got to know exactly when to use a rigid, sequential chain versus a flexible hub-and-spoke model. Think about a sequential workflow like an automated release pipeline. It's strict. Downstream agents are completely blocked, just waiting until the preceding specialist finishes. But in a hub-and-spoke model, a central coordinator acts as the boss. It decides which specialized spoke agent to call, gathers the results, and synthesizes the final answer. The key takeaway? Always classify the orchestration by asking who actually owns the next routing decision.
Now you also have to diagnose memory failures. And yes, there's a difference between a fact vanishing entirely and a fact slowly mutating over time. If a patient's early drug allergy just completely disappears from the context window, that is sliding window amnesia, and obviously a massive liability. But if that patient's dosage subtly changes across successive nightly summaries because the facts diverge over iterations, well, that's summary drift. The exam expects you to spot these specific causal signatures and prescribe the exact fix for each.
And speaking of routing, write this down. The triage agent pattern. Expect this to show up frequently. It is the absolute backbone for handling dynamic handoffs in production. It ensures every request is analyzed and sent to the right specialist, like routing between an eligibility agent and a fraud agent, all while maintaining context perfectly so sub-agents don't improperly bypass the main orchestrator.
Section 4, Traps in Practice Questions. Let's navigate some tricky scenarios from SecByte and Web Lizard Labs.
All right, put your thinking caps on. Scenario 1, the case of the private API. You need to expose an internal inventory API hosted on Azure Functions to your Foundry agents using Microsoft Entra authentication. Think about this for a second. Do you route everything through an Azure API Center catalog, or is there a more direct path for runtime flow?
Don't fall for the trap. The exam will totally try to trick you with unnecessary catalog steps, but runtime flow requires a direct protocol server connection. You deploy an MCP server at the Azure Functions webhook endpoint, you enable Entra-Auth with the correct allowed audience, and you connect the agent service directly to it. Actually, API Center registration is just optional catalog publication. It is absolutely not a mandatory hop in your path.
Next up, let's look at the case of the amnesiac agent. Imagine a critical patient drug allergy is mentioned early in a conversation, but suddenly it disappears later in the chat, and the assistant wrongly denies the allergy even exists. How do you fix this massive safety failure without completely breaking the system?
Did you guess it? Yep, it's sliding window amnesia, and the fix is importance-aware retention. You don't just randomly throw in keyword searches or expand the context window forever. No, you must actively protect those critical facts from being evicted as the conversation grows. Recognizing that specific failure, a complete disappearance versus a mutation, points you directly to this exact mitigation strategy.
And finally, Section 5, your exam study plan. Let's look at a battle-tested blueprint to help you pass.
So what should you actually be studying? These 4 are literally the best resources out there right now to prep you for this beta exam's rigorous format. Start with the official Microsoft Learn AI 500 path for your foundation. Then, dive into the WebLizard Labs CertLab videos and the SecByte 77-question mock exam to really stress test your grasp of complex multi-agent architectures and RAG implementations. And whatever you do, do not skip the Microsoft Exam Sandbox environment. You want to be completely comfortable with that UI before test day.
And here is how you attack it. Follow this sequence exactly. Step 1, hands-on prototyping. Get into Azure AI Foundry and build a small multi-agent prototype with specialized roles and shared state. Step 2, deep dive into RAG pipelines, Azure AI Search, and deploying responsible AI guardrails. Step 3, stress test everything. Take those timed mock exams, measure your accuracy, your latency, your token use, and always target a baseline score of 70% or higher.
Which brings us to the ultimate question. Agentic AI is undoubtedly the future of enterprise software, and you now hold the playbook to master it. The AI 500 exam is your chance to prove you can architect that future safely. The tools are all right there, but when the agents actually start talking to each other, will you be the one controlling the conversation? Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and best of luck on your certification journey. You've got this.